Hi students, I wanted to explain this handout that we're going to do for homework for a few minutes. Um, some of you are taking Reading and Writing 2 in addition to Grammar 2, and you have read or are reading a book called Into the Firestorm by Deborah Hopkinson. And so what I did was I took an excerpt from the book. And for those of you who aren't reading the book, this is about a boy named Nick, who was an 11-year-old boy who picked cotton on Mr. Hank's farm in Texas in 1906. This was a time when many children in the U.S. worked and often didn't go to school. Nick lived with his grandmother on Mr. Hank's farm because his mother died when he was born and his father left the family. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a portion of the story, a part of the story here. And as you can see, what we'll do later on is I want you to notice these numbers here because I've numbered each part. And I'll tell you why I made these numbers. These numbers are not from the book. I added these numbers. And I'll tell you why I added these numbers in a few minutes. But let's just read together. One afternoon, while Nick was working in the fields, he noticed a stocky, red-faced man. Nick wondered about this man because he never saw him before. Who was he? He wore dark pants and a white shirt. His big belly bulged through the buttons of his shirt. Mr. Hank, the owner of the farm, came up to Nick while he was picking cotton. Mr. Hank pointed to the stranger and said, "You go with Mr. Kelly, Nick. He'll bring you to the county poor farm, and you can live there now. They take orphans there." Nick stared blankly at the man. County poor farm? Orphans? Mr. Kelly reached out to Nick and grabbed Nick's elbow. "Come along, son, you're finished here." At first, Nick didn't understand, but then he realized that something happened to his grandmother. Nick pulled his arm away from Mr. Kelly. "Gran had a fever, that's all. She's strong." Suddenly, Nick felt like he couldn't breathe. Before he left for the fields that morning, he should have tried to get a doctor for Gran. Nick felt so guilty. Nick looked at Mr. Hanks as he was counting the bags of cotton. Nick picked nearly 100 pounds of cotton that day, but Mr. Hank refused to pay him. Nick was just an orphan, so Mr. Hank took advantage of him. Mr. Hank was the boss and he could do anything he wanted. Nick said to Mr. Hank, "That's the last bag of cotton I'll ever pick." Mr. Hanks laughed. "I don't think so. What else is an orphan kid in Texas going to do?" Okay? So after you read the story, you can read it again to yourself. What I want you to do is answer the 3 reading comprehension questions just so you understand the story a little bit, okay? Who was the red-faced man? What happened to Nick's grandmother? And what is your opinion of Mr. Hank, okay? Then what I want you to do for our sentence structure part is reread the numbered sentences with the story and decide if they are simple, compound, or complex sentences. Write your answers in the chart below. If the sentence is compound, circle the coordinating conjunction. If the sentence is complex, circle the subordinating conjunction. So all of the sentences that are numbered, you are going to look at again and decide if they're simple, compound, or complex. Let's do the first one together. One afternoon, while Nick was working in the fields, he noticed a stocky, red-faced man. So it looks like we have 2 clauses here, right? We've got Nick was working, subject and verb, and he noticed, a simple past verb. So since we have 2 clauses, it's probably going to be a compound or a complex sentence. Let's look and see what kind of connecting word there is to connect those 2. And the connecting word looks like it's while. Yeah? So it looks like since while is a subordinating conjunction, it's going to be a complex sentence. So in number 1, we're going to write complex. Okay? So that's what I want you to do for the other 11 sentences that are marked. There's 12 sentences. I've done the first one for you. Okay? After you do that, you have simple, compound, or complex sentences. After you identify each of those sentences, what I would like you to do is read the summary of the story and how does it sound to you and how it could be better. Let me read it. Into the Firestorm takes place in Texas in 1906. Nick is the main character of the book. He's 11 years old. Nick doesn't have parents. He lives with his grandmother on Mr. Hank's farm. Nick picks cotton there. Let's just stop after the first paragraph of the summary, okay? If you notice, what kind of sentences are these? One subject, one verb, 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 one subject, one verb. Oh my gosh, they're all simple sentences, yeah? That's not good writing in English. Maybe it's good writing for level 1, but you guys are level 2. So what I would like you to do is rewrite the summary using some coordinating conjunctions and subordinating conjunctions so that the summary sounds better. It flows better, okay? So you could combine some of these, I think. For example, Into the Firestorm takes place in Texas in 1906. Okay, that could be a simple sentence. How about this? Nick is the main character of the book and he is 11 years old. We could put "and" here, right? Or something like that. So what I would like you to do is write the sentences, right? And so Into the Firestorm takes place in Texas in 1906. So that's probably okay. But I think we could combine the next 2 or 3 sentences. For example, Nick is the main character of the book, comma, and he doesn't have parents. Oh, I can't spell. P-A-R-E-N-T-S. Okay. So maybe we could combine the next one. So he lives with his grandmother on Mr. Hank's farm. Yeah? So instead of having 3 simple sentences, we have 1 sentence with 2 coordinating conjunctions, and so. Yeah? And to me, that sounds much better. Okay? So that's what I want you to do. You don't change any of the words here. You don't have to change the words or anything. All you have to do is combine the sentences using coordinating conjunctions and subordinating conjunctions, okay? So that's what I want you to do for homework. So you're going to do part 2, decide which of these sentences on page 1 are simple, compound, and complex. And then in part 3, you're going to rewrite the summary down here using coordinating and subordinating conjunctions. Okay, good luck.